Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wisconsin High School Esports Overwatch 2 Match of the Week. Ladies and gentlemen, we have such a good match for you this week. We have Happa, who we had on just 2 weeks ago, versus Greenwood. These two teams are nearly undefeated in the regular season, and so this ought to be a really good game. We are going to be starting relatively soon, so let's go into the match. Alright, looks like this week we have Saravasa as the map pick. From Happa we have the Kiriko ban, and from Greenwood we have the Reaper ban. Now, from what I remember from Happa playing just 2 weeks ago, they really preferred these brawl compositions. So I really do like the Reaper ban from Greenwood. You know, really denying a really good character in the current meta, and also a character really favored in these brawl up close compositions. And we are jumping into map number 1 of this thriller of a match. We have Saravasa, we have Happa, we have Greenwood. Let's get it going. Oh, perhaps a little bit of technical issue there. Once again, we have Greenwood and we have Happa. I'm ready to get into this match, and I hope you all are as well. Okay. Looks like once again we got a little bit of a brawl composition from the side of Happa. Really loving that Bastion and the Brig and the Junker Queen. But as for Greenwood, you know, once again, kind of a more, you know, battle you away. We got Soldier, we got uh, Sojourn on the side of the DPSs, as well as Ana. So I'm really excited to see how these two teams are going to duke it out. We've got point number 1. Looks like both teams electing to go a little bit more away from the side of Greenwood, kind of surrounding them on all fronts, taking point control first. But the Hanzo does manage to get a pick on the Moira, who was, you know, a little out of position. The problem with playing split up is, in these brawl compositions, if they're able to get to you, they can do some serious damage. And yeah, that's going to be Happa taking point first. Really good start from them. I liked the way they kind of picked a side, and they really pushed it as a team. On the side of Greenwood, it was a little unfortunate to have people caught out of position, but you know, certainly a very early start and a very early game. And actually, the Hanzo managed to get another pick onto the Ana. Wow, that's gonna be forcing Happa back, unless, oh my gosh, the Junker Queen actually gets another pick. Greenwood a little staggered here. They need to regroup as a team and not get picked off quite so easily. But they actually fall. This Hanzo's been so incredible. And that actually might be first point already captured on the side of Happa. A great opening. Yeah, we have a flashpoint that's pretty close to first point. Gonna be a very good spawn on the side of Greenwood. Actually gonna have the early point control. We'll have to see how Happa can respond and really push in here. And it actually looks like they might just give up the point initially. Oh, but the Moira not gonna quite fall. Wow. Yeah, Greenwood. After that last point, it looked a little tough, but they actually do manage to get first point. However, on the side of Happa, they get the first pick. That Bastion ult gonna be so big, and the Junker Queen. Yeah, I think with a couple ults invested there, Happa are probably going to take the point. But a very solid start from Greenwood onto this point. And especially with a couple ults invested, none invested on the side of Greenwood, actually. They're going to have all 5 ultimates here. If they can, expend very few and manage to get picks, oh my goodness. The soldier actually falls with the ult used. A little unfortunate there, but Happa going to respond by using Hanzo's. And it actually looks like Happa are going to take the lead onto this point. 2 pretty good fights back to back. What I would really like to see from Greenwood is perhaps a little bit more of perhaps a little bit more off to the side. I'd like to see them play a little less away from the Hanzo. This Hanzo's been hitting shots back and forth. Oh, but actually, I didn't even notice. They got the point. And, wow. Happa actually go up 2-0 in the map. Just needing one more checkpoint to really take it home. Wow. I mean, incredible stuff. Not going to quite get the touch in time. The Hanzo from behind. Going to be taking out members of Greenwood. Wow. Really good stuff. However, it's not quite over yet. I think Happa are going to take early point control. And Greenwood really need to respond. They do have a couple ults online. I would really like to see them use them. The Hanzo actually uses a third ult of the match and not able to get anything from it. A little unfortunate there. But actually, Greenwood's tank is going to fall, and it's going to be a little bit rough to get back into it. Especially when the Junker Queen is able to get a few more. Yeah, I think Greenwood just a little bit staggered here. Sometimes they're able to find picks, but it's not when they have the entire team together. I would really like to see Greenwood focus a little bit more on playing as a team. I do like the individuality. I do like positioning yourself onto these off angles, but that's going to be a 3-0. Happa take the first map convincingly. Junker Queen play the game, yeah. Some very good stuff. Very good stuff from Happa. They played that brawl composition really well. I really liked the style they played, where the Hanzo would really poke out, and then whenever they needed to clean something up, they'd send in the rest of the team. As for Greenwood, I liked the way they were playing. I just didn't like the lack of team play, lack of communication there on some of these pushes. Uh, so Greenwood do get map pick and a ban. I believe we should be getting a control point here. A control point, yes. I think something like Ilios or Busan might be a very good play. Actually, they're gonna go to Lijiang Tower. I think all the control points are pretty good for the style Greenwood like to play. As for the ban, I would like to see them perhaps get rid of this Hanzo. The Hanzo felt like the biggest thorn in Greenwood's side, but perhaps they have something in mind to counter it. Yeah, they actually are going to go and ban the Hanzo out. As for the side of Happa, I feel like perhaps the Sojourn or the Roadhog was definitely hard to play into, and definitely one of their better maps here. So we'll have to see what we ban here. Another thing I think Greenwood should be doing is, putting a little more, when they have the ult, they have to use it. It makes sense to hold on to it, but when you hold on to it for too long, it felt like Happa had a ult advantage the entire time. They're actually going to ban the Ana. I mean, yeah, Ana with the purple can be pretty annoying into this brawl composition. Really easy to hit a lot of opponents with it. And definitely hard to miss the sleep darts. So definitely not a bad choice. And we are ready to get into the second map. Happa up 1-0 versus Greenwood. It is really Greenwood's map to respond, see what adaptations they can make for this map. I am curious to see what composition switches we might get on the side of Greenwood. Because I think some things were definitely working, but we'll have to see what we got here. Yeah, we do get quite a bit of a switch up here. We're more on the Mauga, Reaper, Brig, on the side of Happa we got Reinhardt, Reaper, Bastion, some very good brawl composition. Seems like Greenwood wants to move a little bit away from the poke. Didn't seem to work out too well and go immediately into the brawl. I like the idea. I like the idea for sure. Let's get started. Yeah, it seems like immediately Happa are going to have a little bit more on the space control. But the Reinhardt might have gone a little too far in here. Actually, it is going to be Happa taking the first couple picks here. Yeah, they're gonna they're gonna take point control first here. Once again, I really did like the way Greenwood started. They tried to punish, but it didn't just quite work out. Unfortunately for the Reaper, is gonna fall, and the Mauga goes in maybe a little too prematurely, and that's gonna give Happa a very big advantage to start out with. I'd really like to see Greenwood perhaps play a little bit more patiently, not quite hold W as much. I know you're down, but you really have to play it patient, very careful against the Reinhardt, or your entire team comp's just going to fall apart. Yeah, the Reaper's going to fall once again. They're actually going to go a little bit more off to the side. I like the idea. You know, the once again, Greenwood is trying to really separate Happa's crosshairs, but it's really not working. It seems like they just keep falling down. Cheesa flies with a 3K Reaper ult. And a 4K, actually. Wow. 80%. One more team fight in it for Happa, and they're upcoming on a couple of ults here. Would really like to see them. Once again, last fight, you kind of have to use them here. Yeah, the Bastion's gonna ult. See if it gets any picks. And actually, once again, Greenwood so separated. Happa is just managing to take advantage of it. And that's going to be first point over to Happa here, 100-0. It feels really, really hard to separate this Happa team. They've just been so together the entire match. They've been playing absolutely incredibly in Greenwood. Once again, I really do like the idea of, separating their crosshairs, playing these different angles, and, taking space, but it just hasn't really worked out. They're not as together as a team as they perhaps need to be. Once again, Happa taking point control, a lot of... Oh, and the Reaper, unfortunately, goes in. Is going to fall immediately, and not really expecting all 5 Happa members to be back on the point. Reaper's going to get a kill on Lemoira, and yeah, that's early point control once again. Greenwood really need to decide how they're going to play out this fight. How they're going to manage to find these picks. Actually, oh, I mean, wow, that was a lot of damage really, really fast on the side of Happa. I mean, Reinhardt plus Bastion. Not even a tank is saying that. Greenwood's gonna find a couple more trips to the spawn room, and 40%. Actually, the Reaper is gonna be forced to use the invincibility there, but no follow-up due to the lack of players on the side of Greenwood. Happa, really just held this point really, really well. Greenwood, I think, finally really getting the chance. They have people, they have the abilities to go online, and actually a couple alts. I mean, Happa getting their alts first from winning these fights and just investing a couple's just gonna be it. Once again, it seems like last fight territory on the side of Greenwood. One more chance to take back this map. They're so close, but unfortunately, just not really able to build up those alts. Greenwood is going to fall on Lijiang 2-0 to Happa. Love to see the respect from both teams, though. GG after every map. Yeah, we're gonna see this Reaper play of the game. Oh, actually, it wasn't the alt, but still a couple of picks there. Yeah, good stuff. Both teams saying GG, being respectful, but Happa up 2-0 in the series. We're going to a hybrid map here. A hybrid map. Okay, so we got Blizzard World, Kings Row, Midtown, and Paraíso. I think personally on the side of Greenwood, I would really like to see Blizzard World. I think that's their best bet. They really like to play. But actually, they're going to go to the Kings Row. They're going to kind of double down on this brawl style. Kings Row really known for being really good for characters like Reaper and Reinhardt and stuff like that. Bastion too. So they're almost gonna double down here, and I will have to see what Greenwood has cooking up in the back of their minds, but they do get first ban. Perhaps the Reaper ban is gonna come out again. So really not liking the Reaper. I couldn't help but agree. Reaper has been such a problem for Greenwood, and it doesn't seem like they really favor the Reaper in their own compositions, so not a bad choice. As for Happa, I think perhaps something like Ramatra, or maybe the Brig could be a decent ban. Can't really ban a DPS, so something that really counters the Reinhardt or something, of that nature could really be a successful ban. Oh, looks like Happa are gonna swap in some players. Giving some of their large amount of players here. I mean, look at all these players. Side of Happa, giving them some play time, and we'll have to see what the ban is. Perhaps switching it up for the potential ban they have in mind. Once again, something like the Ramatra or maybe even the Brig could be the play here. I know Greenwood hasn't played much, has played the Brig, hasn't really played. Actually, they are gonna ban the Roadhog. I mean, they're gonna go with something that Greenwood has definitely played, the Roadhog, kind of a staple of what they've done so far. I can't disagree. It did seem like the Roadhog was putting in some work. Seems like we might get a side switch here. Perhaps if Greenwood don't want to attack first. Looks like Greenwood does want to defend first. A little bit interesting. You know, defending first can definitely give some true insight into, you know, how much you need to push on your attack side, how much, you know, time you really need. So I do like defending first on King's Row. I think it's definitely one of those maps where, you know, a lot of teams do like to talk about, you know, attackers' advantage, but you know, I think there are some maps such as King's Row where defending first can be a blessing in disguise. So with some of these new Happa players in here, I'm excited to see how these compositions might switch up. You know, perhaps we'll get to see something a little bit different, maybe straying a little away from the brawl composition, or you know, maybe some different characters in the brawl. As for Greenwood, this is their last chance to really make something happen here. One more shot at redemption back into the series, and it looks like they've got, you know, a little bit different of a swap here. We've got Orisa, Ash, you know, once again, kind of going with a similar thing to map number 1 that they had going. As for Greenwood, it seems like they have relatively similar compositions here. We got the Hanzo, Cassidy, uh, Reinhardt. I do like both of these team compositions. I feel like they both have a clear game plan and can work. But we'll have to see how we can start off. Once again, Greenwood is defending. Have to see how much time they can hold off before Happa can get their first point. And actually, the Orisa going to get pinned here. The Reinhardt is actually going to manage to get out. I mean, that shield so hard to deal with. Especially when you've got two supports already healing it up. And, you know, Greenwood are probably going to have to give up this point pretty early for a first point here. Probably going to be 5.5 minutes on this clock for Happa. A very good start to King's Row, but you know, one thing I will say about this map is definitely attackers do have it a little bit easy to at least finish the map. Compared to most maps, this map is one of the maps that you can definitely finish on really easily, and Greenwood actually going to be able to get a couple of picks here. Going to be winning probably their first fight since map number 1. But, you know, the Hanzo wall invested actually is a little scary, but looks like Greenwood are going to manage to get out, give up a little bit of the space, but they still control the high ground. Oh, and the Ashe manages to fall down. Wow, Orisa all going to be used. It's going to be huge getting 2 kills. Even though the Orisa's going to fall, you know, even though the Orisa got 2, it just feels like Happa really, I mean, you know, Greenwood lost their tank and Happa didn't lose theirs. Very tough to break through that health pool, especially on Reinhardt with the shield. Getting a little bit of the flank here. But going to be spotted out. Not going to be getting a pick, though. Yeah, Cheese of Flies, once again. An incredible player on the side of Happa. Managing to get 2 picks on the Hanzo. And I think Happer are going to get this checkpoint. Once again, 5 minutes to complete the map. It's looking a little tough. And with the Soldier kind of separated, it makes it really hard to build up a team fight if you don't have the pressure. I mean, this now that you're around the corner, it just feels like the Soldier is going to have to choose a time to go in. Soj actually does drop down, but is going to fall. And yeah, Greenwood is actually going to fall. Another Hanzo ult, and that's going to be Greenwood finishing the map with 4 minutes and 20 seconds. That is a very, very good attack. However, on the side of Greenwood, there were shades of a fight there. You know, they definitely had a fight win or two in the mix there, especially on that first point. So I really did like the way they mixed it up. I like the way they were playing that time specifically. It felt like they were a little more coordinated, a little more together. And that's what I really like to see. But Greenwood, once again, you know, they have a tall task ahead of them, you know, which is finishing all 3 points on King's Row. Looks like we're actually getting a Reinhardt mirror. Maybe a bit of just the mirror in general on the side of Greenwood. Really saying, okay, this composition works for you. Why can't it work for us? I mean, they do have very similar styles, so, you know, perhaps they have something cooking up here. Really think they can take on Happa in the Ditto, at least from last round. We'll have to see how this plays out. And it all starts with this first point. Oh, actually, wow. An immediate pick on the side of Greenwood. It's going to be a really, really good start. Unfortunately, it's not going to lead to too much here. Is actually the Reinhardt's going to win the Ditto in the little 1v1. Just a little too much damage on the side of Happa. But, you know, we saw a nice pick there. If Greenwood could just do it again, perhaps they can take this first point. And I will say, on the side of Greenwood, they have built up a couple of these ults really, really fast. They're already close to the Reinhardt ult and the Cassidy ult, which are two really, really big ults. They actually already have two online. They're going to have to play this right. And actually, oh, the Cassidy is going to fall to the Cassidy. But it looks like on the side of Greenwood, they tried investing into that Shatter, and it just didn't really work out. You know, two ults invested for two ults on the side of Happa, but they do manage to win that team fight. And this corner is so hard to get past. It's really going to be up to this Reinhardt, I think, on the side of Greenwood to really block some of Happa's ults. The Shatter and both the Cassidy ult can be blocked. And actually, they're going to get some picks. But the Shatter is huge. The Shatter is going to do it, and Wild Wolf on the Cassidy gets 3. 4 even. And wow, even though Greenwood was up 2 members, Greenwood, Happa managed to find a way to win that. Just a minute left on the clock here, and you have to make something happen in these next 2 fights. The Kiriko ult invested, perhaps getting cut off by the geometry there. It's really unfortunate. Just 36 seconds left. Greenwood have to do something here. They have to win this point, or else they have no shot in this series. And Cheese of Flies on the Hanzo going to make something happen. Getting 2 picks. 3 even. And yeah, getting the Reinhardt is huge. If any member of Greenwood can get onto the point in the next 4 seconds, but I don't think it's going to happen, and Happa are going to take the series 3-0. Wow. What an incredible map. I really did like the way both of these teams had played. Wow. What an incredible shot. Yeah, that's going to be it for the series. A 3-0 for Happa. A bit unexpected by how strong these teams had stood above them all. But inevitably, Happa do take it 3-0. Gonna move on. Gonna go up, I think, up to 4-0 in their standings. This team is definitely one to watch out for, and definitely one who have a great chance of making state here. Really proving themselves. As for Greenwood, really, really strong match. Even though the 3-0 scoreline, it was definitely close on maps 1 and 3. They definitely had some fighting chances, some fighting wins there. It just seemed like Happa had a bit more team coordination, a bit more togetherness, but definitely not bad stuff on the side of Greenwood. I'm excited to see what both these teams do throughout the rest of the regular season, but that ends the series, and I am Solo, your Overwatch 2 commentator for WIHSEA. I hope you all have a great rest of your evenings, and I will see you all back here next week for, I think, week number 6. Just 2 more weeks until playoffs.